Tonight. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast once again, the whole Reffin' Show. Jamie Tucker here, of course, your host. Your co-host is Mike Orange. Mike, welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
That's right. The reason we started out with tonight to open this is because we're talking about an era of wrestling that I was in the late 90s up till early 2000s before leading into WCW. We're going to talk about a lot of this again today. And Bert Prentice's one of his main things to close out or talk about a big show that evening, because Saturday morning TV in Nashville, they normally run not every week, but be at the fairgrounds maybe every other week. And he would be like, tonight, in Murfreesboro or Nashville or wherever we were running at, and that would be the big thing. And it was just always cool, always stuck in my mind, and thought Bert was one hell of a promoter, and had a good mind for the business, really territory style wrestling, and I loved every minute of it. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and that's the reason for opening up with it. But also remember, something you need to do before tonight is go to Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company, cowboyrevolution.com. Go to checkout after looking at all the great merchandise on that site. Get you some good merch. Put in coupon code for 15% off Jamie T123. It's as easy as that. And go look at it now. Don't wait till after the podcast if you're listening to it. But then go in there, get you some stuff, and have a good night. So Mike, how's your week been, bud? I know we talk throughout the week here every now and then, but how's it going now?
It's going pretty good. Just working a lot. Spending time with the family. Spending time with my hot American wife. I said that I'm part Japanese, so every once in a while she wants me to say like she's my Japanese wife. So my hot American / Japanese wife. So just trying to have a good time. What
Okay.
have you been doing this week?
Well, just pretty much same thing. Working, not only um just working, but also working on wrestling side of thing as well. Trying to get some bookings lined up, some talent lined up for the podcast. Still waiting to hear back from a couple guys. I think it's going to be very exciting for this podcast in the weeks to come. Trying to get some dates secured to start telling everybody about where they can come see, not only meet me, but see me in the ring, in the stripes, wherever that may be. And just trying to get some stuff lined up. Been busy with that, work. And that's about it, man. Just normal life stuff. Just nothing bad going on. I had a little bit of a cold this last week. Getting over that. I think it may have been allergies. Not sure. A lot of pollen been around here in Virginia, so it could have been. But, everything's good. Everything's moving along and everything's trucking. So cannot complain at all.
Well, sounds good. Uh, so me and you don't work at the same job anymore.
That's true.
So what's your new job? Like, you want to give a little bit of insight on that?
Well, all I'll say about the new job, because, we try to keep this strictly more about pro wrestling and stuff and past adventures or maybe new topics and all that for the wrestling fan. But I stayed in the same area of work, still retail management, just moved to another company and moved along and just left where I was. And very happy for that. Came out of a very toxic type work environment atmosphere, and now into a more of a laid back, and no drama. So seems to be working out for me very well, and I'm happy that I made the change. And nobody calling wrestling fans losers here, which really makes me mad and burns me up. So anyway,
Yeah, I only asked because we got some people from where we work, well, where you used to work, asking about you and stuff like that. Uh, Happy that you found something better. And yeah, I know the situation that you're talking about, and hopefully it gets better for everyone. So,
absolutely. I mean, the thing with me is, man, I'm the easiest going guy there is, easiest person to get along with, but there's just certain things that that cross the line in professionalism and being in a business. And this individual has crossed the line more than once of being unprofessional. And, so instead of putting up with the same garbage over and over and over, I had to leave that toxic environment for me as a human being and just get out. And I'm enjoying it because like I said, I moved along, got a new venture, trying this out. It's gonna work well. Already very happy. And then we got the podcast going, the pro wrestling stuff starting to build up again. And I feel like in the next few months, there's going to be some exciting wrestling news, not just for the podcast, but for myself. And we can go all in details as the time comes. But I think, the summer, as they used to say when I grew up watching pro wrestling as a kid, it's going to be a really hot summer and a really hot time here. And that's exactly what it's going to be. So like the Great American Bash, brother, growing up in that time frame. Summer is going to be good, and I'm looking forward to it. And also moving along here, the WWE Hall of Fame. So we already know about Triple H going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Michelle McCool. I'm trying to think here. The natural disasters come to mind. I remember that. And then now we got a legacy wing. In the legacy wing, which was started a few years back, has quite a few really good names in it already. But adding to that will be Dory Funk Sr., the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff, and there's one other. And we also can't forget in the legacy part, Kamala. And then we're talking about, I almost forgot this name, and forgive me, because I'm very happy to see him go in at the total package, Lex Luger. And we're still all waiting to see who's going to induct Lex into the Hall of Fame. And I just can't wait to see who that's going to be. It's got me wondering, at this point, I don't think it's going to be Sting, though.
no, I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it might just be like a last second uh, thing where they be like, "Oh, well, you can go on the show and induct him." But how the stories are coming out, I don't see it happening.
Right. We had talked last time, Mike, that maybe DDP or someone like that could step up. That's still an option, in my opinion. DDP, very, very good speaker. It'd be awesome to hear that. And he knows so much. He's helped Lex so much. But what do you think about this? And they just went into the Hall of Fame in the last recent years. It may have been last year. Um, Maybe the Steiner brothers. I mean, they were a big part of Lex's career.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool too. Like you said, they did come back in WWE with everything that happened before and stuff. They did welcome the Steiners back and put them in the Hall of Fame. Very deserving.
Yeah.
Uh, then their nephew, uh, Scott's nephew, Rick's son, Braun Breaker, he's there. So I think he kind of helped mend the bridge a little bit to get the Steiners into the Hall of Fame. But that would be really cool seeing the Steiners induct Lex too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just try to think about what would make the most sense when it comes to a Hall of Fame induction because you just don't want anybody to induct someone that deserves it. Like, I don't want to see any current WWE superstar induct Lex. It's nothing personal. It's just I don't want to see that. It wouldn't mean as much in the end. But there's a lot of names over the years that Lex crossed paths with. Lex was in the business with, but DDP comes up. Marcus Bagwell was a close friend, and then the Steiners. So if Sting can't do it, there's plenty others. There's also rumblings that you could always put Flair in there, but once again, there's rumblings that Flair has a contract still. He signed a 2-year deal and it's still going on with AEW. I'm not certain if that's legit or not, but that's what you're reading online. So it could, you could even use Rick if you wanted to.
Yeah, I pass on Rick. I like him and everything. I just think he's on TV way too much.
Yeah.
Uh, I just think they need to let him do his thing for a while, and then maybe in a year or so, keep him off TV for a year, then bring him back. But he's on there way too much. Uh, you have a better chance of getting Hulk Hogan to induct him, in my opinion, than Rick.
True. Maybe he'll bring some All-American beer with him, brother.
Well, brother.
So,
Uh,
well, bro, since we're on subjects here, I know we're getting ready to talk about some NWA Worldwide and Wildside from the time frame that I was involved in it, and it meant so much to me. And when I think about the real good scheme of it all, and that when I went to these two promotions, companies, whatever you want to call them, it actually excelled me to the next level to get that contract or get that opportunity to go to a big company. And without them, I honestly believe I may have not got the break that I got. Um, it's sort of like you can work hard all day for something, but if the stars ain't aligned right and the opportunity is not there, you may not reach that goal. And it's just the way things are. So you got to have it all aligned. You can work hard all day long, work hard for everything you ever wanted, but you got to have everything aligned right. And I just believe with these two companies, when they did come into my life in that period of my time in the business, that it excelled me and had me get seen by the right people at the right time, and just everything was good. That's all I'm gonna say. It just seemed right. So that's what we're mainly talking about today. So, did you have any other newer news or any WCW stuff you wanted to talk about before we jump in straight into to this topics?
uh, did you? Well, first on Monday Night Raw, we was just talking about the Steiners, and then we talked about Scott's nephew, Rick Steiner's son, Braun Breaker. Did you happen to see that spear he gave Carlito on Monday Night Raw?
I did actually saw it. Funny you mentioned that. I actually saw it today as I was going over some video clips from the week and watching my older wrestling like I always like to watch because I got to have my wrestling fix of the day. And yeah, I did see that. It looked like he killed him. I mean, Braun is a monster too, and he's got the right look, dude. If we're thinking about a megastar years down the road, if he stays healthy and uninjured, I believe he's one of the guys to take it years down the road, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It's funny how you said it looked like he killed Carlito because I think everybody thinks he did because Carlito actually put on Twitter, and I think he was just trying to make a bright side of it. But he said, "Thank you everyone for your thoughts and prayer. My funeral service is scheduled for this Friday. My family asked for privacy during this painful time. Much gracious." So, so he put it out there like it pretty much killed him. So, like it was a nasty spear, like probably the one of best ones I've seen in a long time. But Braun Breaker, man, he is quick. And him starting at the top of the ramp, full speed, you coming down like at an angle coming down, that's more mental. And he's going in a straight line. He just killed him.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good and looked deadly at the same time. So yeah, I saw that. Speaking of videos, do you remember the video I sent you earlier in the week? And everybody's made fun of this. Well, it's really not funny, but it is, I guess, because of the dummies that are involved. But the fire spot at some indie show, and then the chair or something's on fire so bad the fans are dragging it through the building, and it just looked horrible. The whole video. I mean, they're setting looked like they could have set the whole building on fire. Do you remember that video?
Yes, I do.
Oh my
Um,
God, that was
yeah, they set it on fire. Well, the wrestler set it on fire. I don't know who was in the match or nothing because I was more focused about the fire. And he sets it on fire and he hits the guy in the head with it. Well,
yes.
he drops the chair in the ring and then he just throws it out into the crowd and the fans just start freaking out. And then the fire just got bigger and bigger. Then all of a sudden, you just start dragging it through the building. And they got the curtain that goes all the way down to the floor. They're lifting that up. Surprised they didn't catch that on fire. Then they took it outside, stomped on it a few times. And the whole entire time I'm thinking, where was the fire extinguisher?
Yeah,
Like,
you would.
no, like
Like
it
it
was
was
crazy.
crazy.
Like,
Yeah, you would think if you're doing a spot like that, you would at least have a fire extinguisher ready on spot in case the fire was a little bit more than you expected. You're right about that because over the years, even when ECW did their table spots, they were able to put out their fires. They had fire extinguishers. WWE did the spots. Anytime you saw a table on fire or anything on fire, it was easily put out because they were prepared. Unfortunately, this show and shows like that are called mud shows. So basically, they're just really shitty shows. Basically, that's what it is. It's just a bunch of guys. Some of them don't know half of what they're doing, and they do stupid spots, and the next thing you know, somebody's hurt. So yeah, just bad overall. That could have been really bad. Even though we sat back, we laugh at stuff like that about how stupid it was, but it could have really potentially turned into something very tragic, even for some of the fans in that building. So, not a really good spot to do if you're not really good at planning it out well enough. So, I don't think it should have been done by these kids or whoever they were, but some indie show somewhere. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was bad.
bad.
So this week we had talked about, and then what made me want to talk about it again is I found a lot of the footage from my days from this era, 1999, 1998, that era, leading up into early 2000, right when it leads up to going into WCW and all that. And so what I'll say, we'll bring up Bert Prentice first because I brought up tonight, and I said it was one of Bert's big, big things to talk about, big slogans or hype. The hype guy to tell you about the pro wrestling show tonight. Come out to it. He's just a really good promoter, and I met Bert oddly enough working for NWA Wildside down in Cornelia, Georgia September the 4th of 1999. And that's how I first met Bert. And as we talk along here, we'll go in more detail and all that about this guy. But he essentially, how I got my route into WCW is because of this one night. It pivoted me 6 months later to actually get a call and a job. Actually, a little sooner than that because I knew I was getting it. It just was about 2 months later before I actually got the job. We'll talk about all that as well. So technically about 4 months it took me to get on the radar enough to get told you're getting a job. So we'll go all into that. The Nitro backstage, January 4th. We'll touch on that today. But, on September 4th, Cornelia, Georgia, I met Bert as he came down with Colorado Kid, Big Bully Douglas, and Chris Michaels. So they all came down from Nashville. And the main event that night was for the NWA North American title. It was Chris Michaels wrestling the Colorado Kid for the NWA North American title. And as Colorado Kid, I'll tell the finish and then I'll go back to the backstory. Colorado Kid has him in a sleeper hold, and he's got Chris Michaels wearing down. Next thing you know, Bully comes in, hits him from behind. The referee, which is me, signals for the bell. The match is over. It's a DQ win. Colorado Kid retains the title. Old school finish. But how I got into this match was I was not even scheduled to be in this match. And a long time older referee by the name of Jimmy Rivers was the official to begin with. And we're sitting backstage, and Bert is sitting there, and he goes, let's do something really different tonight. And I'm sitting there, I don't know. I didn't even know he was talking to me or about me until after he says it. He goes, let's put this kid in there to referee. Let's put this guy right here. I want this kid in there to referee tonight. So he takes Jimmy out of the match, throws me in the match. So I go out there, referee the match. And by the time I get back, I get told by a couple of my buddies. One was Terry Knight. Another one was Sweet Dreams, which is Mark Howard. They both live in the Carolinas. And they go, listen, Bert was back here just raving about your work, about how good you were, that he needs you up in Nashville, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know whether they were just working me or like ribbing me or they really meant it. So I'm sitting there going, oh, cool. I'm like caught off guard. I just come back from the curtain. And I thanked everybody, finally got to Bert. And I thanked Bert for the opportunity of going out there. And he just is like, I need you in Nashville, kid. I want you next week. We got these shows, blah, blah, blah. And gives off this list. It's like 3 or 4 shows the next week. I need you out in Nashville next week for TV. I guarantee you'll be signed in 6 months to a major company. And that's my first night and the whole interaction that night with Bert Prentice.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So he did a lot to really help you out to start with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I went out to Nashville the next week. I was just like, yes, sir, I'll be there. And I did. I made the loop. I made the shots. I went out and worked the next Friday, September 9th, which weirdly enough, a year later is when I get married, September 9th of 2000. But anyway, and I did not know that in this September because I haven't even met my wife yet. But so I go out there to Lebanon, work the card for him. And then the next day on Saturday, we drove out to I think it's Fredericktown, Missouri on Saturday. And then Sunday, we did taping all day long. I think we had 2 different sets and a little break in between, but it was like 2 shows maybe. So I did like 4 shows in 3 days. Bert paid me for all 4 shows. Pretty decent for an indie because the territories are basically dead, but he ran it like a territory still because he would offer you a draw, and a draw would be, let's say on Friday night you wanted to draw towards your pay because you wouldn't get paid until the end of the loop. You would be like, yeah, I'll take a draw, and whatever Bert gives you, whatever it may be, that'd be your draw, and that would be, you could do it every night up until the loop was over, or you could just take the lump sum at the end of the loop. Ran like that. But just great time, man. Worked with like Colorado Kid, Ron Harris of the Harris Brothers, Hot Shots. That's Cassidy Riley and Air Paris. The New South. Um, I'm trying to think. The Sex Pistols was a tag team out there, and I can't think of many on that taping right off the top of my head. Barry Houston, Farron Fox, got more names, but I just thought class act, and you would think that you compare it to an independent show, but no, it was ran like a territory. So totally territory like Memphis.
So, did you really say Sex Pistols?
I did. That was
So,
David Young. You remember David Young from TNA?
maybe.
The early years, and then when they went down to it was the early Asylum years, and then when they went down first to Orlando, David was still involved. But David Young was one of the guys in the tag team with a guy that used to go by the name Shane Austin, but he added Young to the end, so they'd be like brothers. So it was Shane Austin Young, and they were the tag team. So yeah, um, that was their tag team name, Sex Pistols.
And with a name like that, I might have to put them in my Mount Rushmore.
Just by the name?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a pretty cool name, man.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool name, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you can get away with it now, though.
Maybe not. Maybe not. With the way everything is, probably not. But we talk about this era, right? And then leading up October 2nd, that Bert did a big show at the Municipal Auditorium, downtown Nashville. So he actually stepped out of the fairgrounds where he was running, like where the Memphis territory, the Jarrett, whatever you want to call it, territory ran for so many years. Left that fairgrounds building behind and went downtown where like pay-per-views were done over the years. WWF house shows were done, WCW house shows, WCW pay-per-views were done there. ECW ran some shows there, TV for their TV on TNN. And so Bert goes down there and gets a decent house for being a smaller promotion, of course. And he has these top names on the card, like Terry Taylor's working Lord Humongous, not the Lord Humongous that everybody's thinking of from years before. Sid Vicious is one of the originals after the second one. I can't think of the first guy's name, but not Sid. But anyway, so Terry Taylor works him, and then you have like he's bringing in AJ Styles and Rick Michaels out of NWA Wildside and Air Paris, Cassidy Riley, the Hot Shots, and your favorite tag team in that area, the New South, Corey Williams and Ashley Hudson, and just an array of talent. And old school NWA to me, that was like a big promotion. It was a big deal to me because I'm going to tell you, I was trying to get in the ECW that summer, a job, and I got to do some work with them. And they were in the Carolinas the weekend that this show goes on. So I had a choice. I could have drove over there and more than likely I would have got on the card locally for ECW. But I knew to myself that they'd only probably use me locally at this point. Logistically for money and different reasons, they're not going to fly me everywhere when they already got their own set of referees. So I'm like, I need to look at the bigger picture and go work with these guys over here. And so that's what I did. I stayed with Bert, stayed the course, and just really, really prayed that I'd get an opportunity and a break.
And you got that break, didn't you?
I did. So we talked about you've asked questions about this before on the podcast. The New South wrestled the Fabulous Ones, Kern and Lane, down in Nashville with the finish. Remember the finish on that one where I get knocked loopy and count the pinfall, but give the match to the opposite team.
Yeah, they barely hit you, and you was knocked out.
Dude, they knocked me out. I took a big hit to my head. I'm telling you, they knocked me
Well, I know you got a hard head, so I'm surprised they did knock you out.
out. But that was a big deal. Uh, and to work with the Fabulous Ones, such a famous tag team, and I worked that main event, and then of course Terry Taylor, Terry Taylor won the NWA North American title when he beat the Colorado Kid for it, as Lawler was in it as well because it was a three-way dance, uh, and that was really cool because that was to my knowledge, I believe that was the first time I ever got in the ring with Jerry the King Lawler, and we've already talked about that. He was one of my favorites of all time, and that was such a big deal to me to get in the ring with the King. And story that night after the match was right before the main. The tag team match went on last with the New South and the Fabulous Ones. Well, the story for that match, Mike, is after Lawler's match, he asked me, he said, "Hey kid, do you have any more matches?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm next." He goes, "Never mind." Apparently he was wanting to pile drive me.
Man, I wish he would have done it.
Me too. I'll be honest. I would love to took the pile driver from the King. I could have always told people about it, but I didn't get the pile driver. So
Or at least let him hit you in the head with all the quarters, like rolled up quarters,
yeah,
and just knocked you out. I would have loved to see that too.
okay. Now when we talk about the worldwide era, and Bert's there, right, and it all culminates to early January at a Nitro backstage. I get asked if I want a job. I'm just busy, and of course I'm like, yes. And like I was saying, Nitro, it was like January the 3rd of 2000. I go backstage. Charles Robinson actually takes me backstage. I ran into him outside. We go up to Terry. Terry's like, "Hey, remember my name?" I didn't even have to introduce myself back to him because he worked with me a few times. And he said, he's like, "Jamie, do you want a job?" And, of course I was delighted. I said, "Yes, sir. I'll take it now." He's like, "Well, give me a couple weeks. I got to talk to JJ. We'll get this situated." And he did go back, talk to JJ, got it situated. And then not too long after, I got noticed that I was going into WCW. So really cool. But I met the right people, right place, right time, wild side, worldwide. All that was pivotal to getting me to where I wanted to go. And just really great,
So I've been watching some of the NWA Wild Side and stuff, and I was just wondering. I saw a really old video of AJ Styles wrestling there. Did you ever referee one of his matches, or did you start referee when he was in WCW, TNA?
man. Right. Yes. Actually, this is prior to NCW Wildside that NWA was affiliated with, prior to NWA Worldwide. This would be when the company ran out of the same building in Cornelia, Georgia, but late 98, I want to say. I want to say it was late 98. And it was down there in the same building. And AJ had just begun his career. It may have been his first match or his early matches at least. And I got to referee with AJ for the first time then. But, I did work with AJ after the Wild Side part opened in August of 2000. I'm sorry, August of '99, because AJ was pushed heavily by Bill Behrens, Rick Michaels, and Chance Williams of the Wild Side group. And AJ actually did a program with Rick Michaels and all that. And then AJ, I got to work with AJ again I know before TNA days. It was probably down at Wildside again, maybe towards the end, because Wildside actually changed its name to Anarchy when ownership changed around '05, '06, somewhere in there. And I worked with AJ there as well. But Wildside days, absolutely. AJ and K Quick, K Crush, uh, is everybody, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, R-Truth.
Yeah, R Truth. So good matches between them two.
Now, when AJ was up in Wildside just starting out, did you think he was going to be phenomenal at what he's done?
Um, you knew he was something special. Yes. Um, AJ just he comes from a background of like gymnast and all that stuff. So that's why he got all the flashy moves and all that down so good. But AJ, you just knew he was going to be somebody special down the road. As into when he would be that special, no one knew. No one knows when their time comes. It just happens most of the time. But absolutely, AJ was just. I guess you could say he was phenomenal from the get go, and just to be a part of the early years, and people just don't realize how you can sit back and go, hey, I refereed this guy's early match, maybe even his first match back in '98 when he got started, and then watch him grow to be so much bigger, and then he got to WCW and towards the end in early '01, and I got to see that, and I actually refereed his dark match with um, AJ Styles worked Air Paris. They did a dark match in Baltimore, Maryland, in late January before a Nitro Thunder taping in Baltimore, and then they signed him like right after that. Then they put him as a tag team as Air Raid, if anybody remembers that, towards the latter couple months. And they wrestled guys like the Young Dragons and Kidman and Kid Romeo and you name it. And they had some really good matches. So um, it was kind of cool to see all that happen and unfold. And then finally, I got to TNA years later and got to work with him again. So really good stuff, man. But yeah, he deserves every bit he gets. He's truly a Hall of Famer too, uh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see him in the Hall of Fame. Now, TNA, WWE, it doesn't matter. He deserves to go in it for sure.
Oh yeah, he needs to go. He deserves a TNA Hall of Fame for everything he's ever done because that's where everybody remembers AJ being phenomenal to begin with, right? So he has to go in there, but then he has to go in the WWE Hall of Fame. So he's a two-time Hall of Famer right there, with two different places, without a doubt. Uh, has to go in. And if he doesn't, something's wrong. TNA has to put him in, and WWE's going to have to let TNA put him in. And then when that day comes, if he's still affiliated with WWE on his way out, and then absolutely WWE has to put him in their Hall of Fame. He's done so much there. Just they're all around. He's done so much. There's no way he shouldn't go in both. No way at all.
Yeah, do you think, well, they got the partnership, so if he wants to go into the TNA Hall of Fame, I'm sure WWE will let him go into it. But I think it'd be really cool the same year he goes into the TNA Hall of Fame and then the WWE Hall of Fame in the same year. That would be really phenomenal in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be really cool, and it end his career on a high note. Um, when he decides to leave, I don't know what his time frame is. A lot of guys set it out front. A lot of guys don't. Um, they just
Yeah,
don't know.
I think AJ said this is his last contract or full time contract after this one. So he's pretty much done after this contract, he said.
Okay. Well, do we know how long he signed for on this one?
Maybe 1 or 2 more years. It for the talent that he is, I don't think it's going to be 5 years or nothing. I think it's going to be a couple years.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see what happens with that. I know he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's in a program with Logan Paul right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I hope he whoops Logan Paul because Logan Paul is just like his brother Jake Paul. They don't need to be up in wrestling or boxing. Mike Tyson should have knocked out Jake Paul at the beginning of the year. I mean, even I can go in there and knock Jake Paul out. Is
Well,
that a challenge? I don't know. He puts up the money. Who knows? I might step in a boxing ring, but I guarantee I won't lay down like Mike Tyson did.
wow. You hear that? That's big words. He said Mike Tyson laid down. All right.
Well, it's all over the internet. He got his pay cut, and that's it. I'll be there to make history.
Hey, every man needs to make his own history. Maybe that's how you're going to go down in history, knocking out one of the Paul brothers.
That, and then who knows? Maybe a WrestleMania. It'd be the Paul brothers, Logan and Jake Paul versus Jamie, Mr. Former 474 versus and Mike Orange working together, take out the Paul brothers at WrestleMania.
Hey, let's do it. I'd be down.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure we can definitely win. I mean, I mean, they're YouTubers. We're podcasters, so I
Yep.
think we got the advantage.
Oh yeah, we got it. We got it. So another guy that hasn't been mentioned on here about the wild side worldwide, a time frame, is Abyss. Um, he in his early days didn't wear the face mask that kind of resembles Kane. He had none of that. I'm trying to think what his gimmick name was back then, and it's just avoiding my mind 100%. But I know he worked a program. He was working with Bert's group. I met him. I'll tell you exactly when I met him. I met him in 2001 when Bert was running Nashville. This is after I had been WCW's went out of business. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. I worked for Bert once again, this time in an office capacity slash referee as well. So I promote the towns with Smart Bart Sawyer, God rest his soul. Bart was great. I miss Bart. We'd like promote the towns and all that, make sure the rings are set up and the chairs and for all these shows. And but anyway, I met Abyss Chris, '01, working for Bert out of Nashville. And the name of the promotion then was USA Championship Wrestling. Bert had stepped away from being a part of the NWA and started a group, and it kind of reminds you of the way the show opened, like the USWA Jarrett territory, and he had that look going on, and still territory like, and still having good houses in Nashville and surrounding area, and TV on every week, and because I made sure the TV got paid, Bert would give me a check every week. I'd run down to the TV station and made sure the TV was paid for, and I'd take the building rent over to the Nashville Fairgrounds for Bert. That was some of my errands during the week. I'd poster towns, whatever Bert needed to make the business run that he needed help with, I would do. And good learning experience, um, the way he did things. And it was really cool.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Abyss's name in a wild side was Justice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is right. That is right. I remember that. Man, but even then, you saw something good in Chris. Uh, and just the look Chris had, you knew he was going to get a job solely off his look if the company's whoever chose him had a brain, right? So, but yeah, but then when it got down to the brass tacks, man, he could work too. And of course, we saw that over the years. He had some classic matches with a lot of people, and people have to admit, a good big guy can work a great big guy can work a great little guy all week long, right? Because look back, um, Shawn Michaels was good when he worked bigger guys, Sid, Nash, Ramon, Scott Hall. Um, and then you look back at this, and Abyss was always when he worked a match with AJ, you knew they were going to tear the house down.
Oh yeah, those matches, they was really good. I watched a couple up in the Wild Side and then like TNA the whole time. It's really good matches. Like you said, when you got a smaller person facing a bigger person, it's always good. Like it don't sound like it's going to be a really good match, but it always turns out to be a really good match. I like that better than like two big people or two smaller people. It's just the chemistry is always good with that.
Oh, absolutely, because you got to look back at over the years, Vader when he had matches with Sting in the early '90s. Vader and Mick Foley's a little bigger than Sting, but he's still a lot smaller than Vader. They had really good matches. Um, I'm telling you, man, they had so many. Vader was when we talk about big men, Vader, Abyss, Taker, Kane, Sid, uh, even Nash. Man, I mean, these big men just helped the business so much, and they worked with guys like Michaels and Sting and AJ and uh, I can't. I'm trying to think of names off the top of my head uh, that were smaller, but always a good match. But if you put Great Khali in there with the Big Show, let's just be honest. It's big man versus big man. Yes, on paper it looks fantastic, but as the business evolved throughout the years, it needed something different. It wasn't like WrestleMania 3 where Hogan and Andre would be your main event, and that was a larger than life match. Absolutely. But things had changed, things had evolved. And here we are, right? And I just can't. Even Michaels and Vader in the mid '90s in WWF, if they'd have got a better run at it, and whatever the problem was between the two, I think they had some heat. I'm not sure. That's what I've heard. But that could have been a really good program, Vader and Shawn Michaels, because after seeing Sting and Vader in WCW all them early '90 years, just imagine having a real program with Michaels and Vader.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that was.
that would have been really good for sure. Like like Vader was really good, and then of course everybody knows how legendary Shawn Michaels is or
Mm,
was. Putting him against Vader, I mean, like you said, that would have been like a real program, not the one that they had that wasn't no good. But if they would have had like an actual program where Shawn was, I don't know, a little bit more professional that time of the year,
yeah.
uh, it would have been a really good match for sure.
Yeah, apparently, it's widely known. So, over the years, he was hard to work with. Obviously, we know the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels saga that happened, but man, just talking about Abyss and all that, brought up all that other, of course, went off topic with other big men in the business and small guys working, but yeah, AJ and Abyss were good matches. Abyss had good matches with Foley when he went into TNA, and Abyss to me was, you know, he was one of the best big men that we ever had in this business, and he's surely a Hall of Famer as well. So we just found another Hall of Famer just talking about it today.
Yeah. He went into the TNA Hall of Fame, didn't he?
I believe so. I want to say yes on that. But that's something that I may have to look up real quick. Let's see.
I think it might have been 2018, but I might be wrong on that.
I think you may be right. Yep, you're right. In 2018, he was inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame by his longtime manager, James Mitchell. There we go. He did get his just due. Now, AJ's not been inducted yet.
No, but he will be. I say within the next 5 years, he will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah, because Jarrett's in both Hall of Fames, TNA and WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
And,
he well deserves that too.
oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Especially when you started the TNA and everything, and then just the career you had in WWE and stuff. I don't know if they counted the time that he was in WCW, but if you add WCW and WWE, he well deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for WWE for sure.
yeah, absolutely. So, staring back towards our topic of the day, I was just thinking about a story here, and God rest your soul, Bart. I'm not trying to talk bad of you. This is just a funny story to me that happened. So, me and Bart, I picked Bart up at his place down in Nashville, and we're driving down the interstate there. It may have been 40, Highway 40 or 65. I can't remember which interstate it was. And we're going down to Murfreesboro. So if anybody knows the map, which highway from Nashville to Murfreesboro, that's the highway we were on. Okay, I'll just say that. So we're driving down there, and Bart occasionally, Bart liked to partake in, how would I say? I'm trying to think of the right word. Marijuana. How about that word? Okay. So next thing I know, he has this pipe he would do it in, this little pipe. Well, he'd bend over in the seat, and I didn't know what he's doing at first because I was trying to drive. And he does that. I'm like, oh shit. And then all the way down to Murfreesboro, he does this. All the way back, Bart is doing this. Well, we stop at a convenience store, and Bart goes in. This is the way back. Bart goes in, and he gets him a few beer, and he comes back out with the beer. And next thing I know, Bart is drinking beer in the passenger seat, and we're going back from Murfreesboro, like I said, to Nashville. We're about halfway back, probably. And I'm not crapping you. He doesn't have a seatbelt on. He keeps going down, smoking on that pipe of, whatever, marijuana. And then he sits there and he drinks some beer. And he has no seatbelt on. And I'm driving. And I swear to you, a cop is behind me on the interstate. So I'm sitting here going, oh, hell. I don't say nothing to him because I don't want him to do something stupid, move the wrong way, or put more eyes on us, I guess we can say. So I'm sitting there going, please don't have this guy pull us over because we're going to be screwed. So I drove and drive. I drive and drive. I finally get back into town. I take my exit. The cop's still behind us. I'm still going, oh crap, we're going to get pulled over. I'm going to go to jail. Because, at this point, I think I'm 20. I just had turned 23, so I'm still quite young. And I never did like smoking any of that stuff. I still don't to this day. I won't do it. I do like a beer, but not while I'm driving. So I didn't have one then. But But I finally made it back to Bart's place. The cop keeps going straight down that road, and I'm like, "Thank you, Lord." But I'm telling you, it was a close call. I thought we was getting pulled.
Back then, I think the laws was a little different than they are now.
And 2001, the laws were that different.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, I think the stuff started changing more like after 9/11 and stuff, like for security and stuff like that. But I think it was a little bit like you could get away with more back then than you can now.
Well, I was in Nashville, Tennessee, so maybe Tennessee's different. I don't know.
Yeah, they are better than Virginia.
See, because at that point I lived in Nashville. But anyway, not talking ill of Bart. I love Bart, but and I didn't say nothing to him about doing it. But I was scared out of my wits that I was going to get pulled over and go to jail. And but me and Bart, um, we actually did TV studio stuff together. I learned a little bit of that side with Bert and Bart down there, and we go to meetings and stuff with Bert, and you picked up a little bit here and there how to promote a wrestling card and get the sponsors, and just a really good learning experience when I moved out there and got to see that side of the business um, from Bert, because he actually ran it like a real business and was actually making money off of it. And so, but Bart, nicest guy you ever meet, one of the sweetest guys you ever meet, great guy. And if anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, Smart Bart Sawyer. He's in NWA Wildside, a lot of their footage, NWA Worldwide and USA Championship Wrestling. Go look it up. He's also in the mid 90s. He teams with Flex Cavana, which is The Rock, and they are the USWA Tag Team Champions. So that's a little bit of information for you as well. And he got his start in the Pacific Northwest out there in the Don Owens territory area. So go look up some Smart Bart Sawyer guys. He was instrumental in Wildside and all that being big and helping out Bert in that area and down in Georgia with Bill Behrens and all that. So, but can't say that bad about Bart. Good dude. And go watch some stuff, guys.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. A little fact about uh him that y'all actually shared the same birthday, March 26th.
Me and Bert, yes.
I mean, I think he might be a tad bit younger than you. Just kidding, buddy. But that's a pretty cool fact that he helped you get into the business and everything, and y'all share like the same birthday. So that's really cool.
I mean, like I said, by that point, by the time I met Bert, I was almost in the business 6 years, but I started at the young age of 15. So legally, I don't know, probably wouldn't have got hired to 18 at least anyway. So the first 3 years of my career, almost 3 years, um, would have been, oh, just learning anyway. But honestly, for a business such as pro wrestling, it's something that you continuously try to learn from, and you find the right people throughout the years to teach you. And I started that in '93, and we've talked a little bit about that before in the podcast months ago with the Italian Stallion and George South from the NWA Crockett days. They got me my start, taught me the fundamentals, got in the business, got the referee every weekend, got to learn. And then I broke away from them about 2 years in. And a few years later, I end up meeting the right people, going out to Georgia for Bill Behrens and Rick Michaels and Chance Williams. And then by going down there, I got to meet Bert Prentice and everything. Just I was right place, right time. But I had a lot of good teachers over the years, a lot of good people in the business that knew what they were doing. Stallion, South, met Behrens and Bert Prentice and all these guys that were really, really good. And Bart Sawyer, gave me a lot of feedback and praise. And and just talk about the business. And I learned things from him as well. So had a lot of good people over the years that helped me out, and just blessed, I guess is the word.
So they pretty much gave you like a better opportunity because you was at the right place at the right time.
Well, the way I look at it, and this goes with everything in life, and this is the way I look at it, and other people may not look at it the same way. You can be great all day long at something, but until you are in that right place, right time, keep plugging, keep pushing type attitude and meet the right people, you're not more than likely are not going to succeed. And it's nothing against anybody's ability, especially in athletics or pro wrestling or an actor or anything like that, or anybody that dances. You know what I'm saying? Any form of entertainment, I believe you've got to be at the right place, right time, and have someone that sees something good in you and lets you uh, show your talents. And that's exactly what happens. And I would tell everybody to keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. I don't care how good you think you are or how good someone's told you you are. Keep pushing, keep plugging. You feel like I'm so good. Why haven't I made it? Don't get that attitude. Get the attitude is I love what I'm doing and I'm going to succeed one day. And then I think you have the right attitude to move forward. But, you know, I honestly believe the stars have to be aligned in the universe. I know it sounds kind of cliche-ish and kind of maybe to some people kind of dumb, but I really believe that. And I really believe you have to meet the right people and be at the right place at the right time, and everything should fall into place. And it's kind of like, you know, and you believe in God and you believe He's going to praise you, right? But here's the thing: you really got to believe that He's there and He's going to be there for you. And it's the same. I brought that scenario into my life, and that helped me as well. So you just got to keep believing, man. And you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in God, yourself. And if anybody in your life that's important that believes in you, you need that support system. And I believe everything works out. And I believe that's why I made it to where I did. And I had so many opportunities down the road years later. Um, yeah, just keep pushing and plugging and believe in yourself and have good people around you, man. And that's what happened. I mean, that's what I believe.
Yeah, totally agree with that. You got to have the right people in the right place uh, to really to help you get to that next step. But like you said, like believing in God and He helps you and stuff. Like I agree with that 100% too. Uh,
And he puts the people in your life, not just this step away from the wrestling business, right? He puts the people in your life that's going to make your life better as well. So not only do I believe that I did the right things to get where I deserve to be, but I believed that that was help from him. But he also puts other people in your life that makes your life so much better. And you know, our wives for one. I know you love your wife to the end of time, just like I love mine. And the thing is, he put them there. I really believe that. And because without her, sometimes when I did lose my first job, the big time job in this business, which was WCW, we did move to Nashville for Bert, but I was depressed. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I do know without her support, I don't know what I would have done. So I believe all that. Yeah. Regardless of what other people think, I really believe stuff like that.
yeah, 100% agree with you. Um, like if it wasn't for guys like putting my wife, my hot American wife, in my life and everything, I'll probably be depressed and I don't know what I'd be doing right now, you know. So he put her in my life at the right time, right place for me, and I like I said, I do believe in that, um, and then not trying to plug too much, but Easter's coming right around the corner. Go to church, Easter Sunday. Just give it a chance. Try it. If y'all don't want to go to church, look on Facebook. It's services all on Facebook. Um, let it try to be a right place, right time for anybody, and um, maybe y'all can find something that y'all been missing.
That's good words, man. Um, can't say nothing behind that. I don't know how I could follow that. But yeah. So my career, like I said, he, that's what happens. You got to believe in yourself too, but you got to have that support system all the way around. People in your life. Uh, you believe in a higher power, God, all that. You got to have it. Uh, it really pushes you forward. So, but yeah. So What were we talking about? Wild Side, Worldwide. We gave a Bart story. We talked about how Bert and everybody's instrumental in my career. Um, you know, we did mention his name once. Terry Taylor he gave me my first WCW break. Everybody knows that. I've already said that. And he also brought me into TNA two different occasions. Terry was a good dude. He looked out for me. A lot of people talk bad about Terry, but it's on the same token as maybe I'd say something bad about Laurinaitis. I don't like him, but Terry was always good to me, and I had nothing bad to say about Terry. So kudos to Terry, and he's still down in NXT down there to help train the guys down in Orlando. So good for you, my man.
Yeah, you got to have that support system for sure, and having each other's backs and stuff like that. And James actually had my back when he told me about David protein bars. David protein bars got 28 grams of protein, 150 calories, 0 grams of sugar. It's gluten free. Go out and get you some. They got right now. They got 6 different flavors: cake batter, salted peanut butter, fudge brownie, peanut butter chocolate chunks, chocolate chip, and my personal favorite, blueberry pie. Go get you some David protein bars today, but after the podcast.
That's right. Don't leave the podcast quite yet. So David protein bars are very delicious, and like Mike said, you need to go get you some. Try this the snack pack. I think it's called. Is it sample pack? And
Yeah, $25, I do believe,
okay,
and you get one of each.
there you go. You need to go try it, guys. Try them out. Pick your favorite flavor. Mike's is the blueberry pie, like he said. I'm kind of more of a cake batter type guy over here, but we both like our flavors. So, um, a story popped up in my head, Mike, just sitting here when I started thinking about pro wrestling, and I think the story in Nashville helped this story pop up. So, I got a WCW road story. It just popped in my head. I'm going to tell now. What do you think?
Sounds good. Lay it on me.
Okay, so me and this other official, no other referee for WCW was out in, oh God, I want to say we were out in Nebraska, maybe Omaha, somewhere out in there, or Lincoln. It was one of the road trips we did out in the Midwest, out towards that way. Um, and we stopped at a late night gas station. Well, I'm in the passenger seat, so I don't get out. I don't have to use the bathroom. He pumps the gas, and he's going to go in after the fact and use the restroom. Well, he gets up to the door's locked. The lady they have one of them little windows over the side that you can talk through, and she tells him that they're closed, the bathroom's not open, that you can buy things and she can get it for you, but you can't come in to use the restroom or something to that effect, because he was trying to go in. And he goes, I swear to you, this is the truth. He goes back to the car and he goes, F you, and calls her a bitch. And he throws the gas pump down on the ground, the nozzle, and he proceeds to pee all over the gas pump. Yeah. True story.
It sounds like you had some pretty crazy stories.
Well, I will not bring the person's name on the podcast and mention, because I don't think I don't want to do it. He may still be active. That's all I'm going to say in the pro wrestling business. So that's all I'm going to say about that story. But yeah, true story, really happened.
So I'm gonna have to do a little deep dive to figure out who this is.
Well, we can talk about it later off the show, and I'll tell you who it is.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So, other than that, we talked about a support system on the road. A lot of times, your friends and the boys are your support system. They're like your family. Sometimes you're going a week at a time. I know back in the territory days, a lot of guys will be going a lot longer than that. And, I shared a lot of hotel rooms with, and then a lot of times I'd have my own hotel room, depending. But a lot of times you'd want that camaraderie, and you wouldn't mind sharing a room with a good buddy and being up late and going up and down the road and all that good stuff. And I shared rooms with several of the referees that y'all know over the years: Earl Hebner, Charles Robinson, Billy Silverman. Did car rides with Nick Patrick, car rides with Fit Finley, car rides with a lot of the guys, Jamie Noble, uh, Yang of Young Dragons as well. Just an Elix Skipper, that's a name he brought up in a while. Just so many guys. And you get to become friends with all these guys. And, sometimes you have crazy stories like the one I just told. And then sometimes you don't have any stories. You just have the camaraderie, the long road talks, and the long talking about life, and maybe something about the business that's currently going on that's interesting, and just good times. And pro wrestling, to me, when I started, I was only 15, but it was. I tell everybody that it's kind of like a lifesaver to me, because as a 15-year-old kid, the only thing I really enjoyed to do and watch was pro wrestling. So when I got in it, it was like life changing. And I'll never regret getting in the business and making all these friends throughout the years and having all the support and getting all these people believing in me and believing that I'm got talent to bring to the table and being a part of the show. It meant so much to me. So from every independent promoter that used me throughout the 30 some years I've been in it, for every time I got to the big dance, Terry Taylor or whoever gave me a job, WWE gave me a job at one point, TNA, WCW. Thank you all, because that was my dream, and I will never regret any bit of it or how I took the route, because that was my life. That was my route that I was given to take, and I will never regret any of it. So thank you all. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I hate to say it because I like to talk trash to you sometimes, but you really did do a good job. You, in my opinion, and it probably don't mean a whole lot, you deserve to go into any type of Hall of Fame.
Well, if that day ever arises, regardless of whose Hall of Fame it is, regardless if it's an independent type Hall of Fame or whatever, I'd be more than happy to accept it. And you know, um, thank you to if it ever happens. Thank you. So, yeah, absolutely, man. Um, it's just been a good ride. I know sometimes you have heartaches and bumpy roads, but that's with all of us, with whatever we choose to do or don't do. So, you can't really say anything about that because it happens. But career wise, I feel really happy with the things I did accomplish and things I did. So I always say I did more than some. I think let me see how it goes. Some did more than me, but I did more than others. Something like that. I always switch it up all the time. But my whole point is I've done more than some guys out there and had the opportunities. And I may have had a little less of a career than others, but I'm happy with what I had. So that's what it means.
I got you. Um, what else we gonna talk about, buddy?
Well, with all the wild side and worldwide talk, um, Bert had passed a few years ago, um, and everybody knows that. And I just feel like Nashville wrestling has a void, by what I can see going on in that area now. I don't believe they have any old school promoters anymore. Guys that really run it the way Bert Prentice would do, or um, even before his time, maybe like a territory system like the Goulas or Jarrett's, you know. But I just feel like, the day Bert, you know, he passed, and he slowly getting out of the business, I believe. Anyway, I believe, I'm not really certain. I lost touch with him over the last few years before that. I just think Nashville wrestling's in a decline by the stuff I see that's happening in that area. And I hope that, you know, one day that area could pick up and, have some decent wrestling that's in the area on a constant basis, and a local television show, and just keep it going. So who knows? But Wild Side, if nobody knows, I know some of the people listening may be a little too young, but Wild Side and Worldwide, if you don't know what we're talking about, go look the product up online. YouTube's got quite a bit of their shows up. There's even a Wild Side channel, I believe, on YouTube. So go look it up, give it a shot, look at the product. Really revolutionized the pro wrestling business. Just as we talked about Omega, the Matt Hardy group down in Matt, Jeff, and Shannon, and all them guys started down in Southern Pines and down in that area. Um, just all of it just revolutionized the business and gave it to you what you got today. And need to think. And independence, like we said last time, the backbone of our industry. You've got to go check out the independent shows in your area. They could be the next stars of tomorrow, and in your backyard, and you don't even know it. So go out there and see them, because you could see them there at the Armory or high school or wherever one day, and then a month later they could be on your TV set. You just never know. So you got to get out there and see some of that young talent before they make it.
Oh yes, for sure. If you can't find like uh independent shows, look on Facebook. All you gotta do is type in like events and find like wrestling underneath there. And I found stuff up on there that is a couple shows that I'm planning on going to that I found up on there. independent. It should be a really good shows and stuff. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to giving everybody an update coming up on where the stripes will be worn and where you can meet me at in the weeks to come, and also um, getting some of the indie guests that we've been promising you actually on the show with me and Mike, and we're going to be asking them questions, finding out some more information about them and maybe how they're doing in their career, or if they're out of their career, we can talk about the steps they made to get to where they made it to, or what they've done in this industry as well. So it's going to be really good stuff coming up in the weeks to come, and I'm looking forward to that. Um, you know, and I also want to tell everybody one last time on here today is you need to go to Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company, cowboyrevolution.com. Check out their merchandise. It's for the veterans, guys. Help out the militaries. 15% off at checkout. Jamie T 123. It's that simple. Save you 15% today. Go check it out and grab you some stuff.
and then after that, go to David Protein and get you a protein bar. Um, any other flavors. But like I said, I recommend the blueberry pie. Jamie, he recommends the cake batter. Um, just get one of, I always try the sample box that's got one of each, and tell us. Tell us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, uh, or email WrestleRef123@gmail.com and tell us what your favorite one is.
Absolutely. That's the way to go. So, guys, right now, tonight, go to them sites and get you some merch. Get you some protein bars. Also, tonight, or tomorrow night, but treat it as tonight, check you out at Indie Show. If you got one in your area tonight, you know it's close by. It's only 5 o'clock when we're finishing up this podcast on the Eastern time. Get out there, go to the shows. Tomorrow night, check you out a show. If it's a Sunday afternoon show, independent show, go check it out. They are your stars of tomorrow. Not all of them, but there are ones on it that you're going to find, and you're going to be like, hey, that may be the next AJ, or that may be the next Osprey, or whoever, the next Good Brother. Who knows? But go check it out and go have a good time. So, with that said, Mike, I think we're concluding this episode. We're getting out of here. And
Hey, hold on. I got one of our buddies that you used to work with, Chris, uh, the old man up in the back room.
yeah,
Yeah, he wanted to know, did you ever referee a match with Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes?
Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes. No, I don't
Are
think
you
so.
sure?
Let me think. Ricky Rhodes. Wait a minute. Was it North Carolina against one of the times? Major De Beers?
No.
Okay.
Well, if you don't know, I will tell you. And I looked it up after he showed me. It was pretty cool to think about. But Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes was he was a relative to Dusty Rhodes, but he's not really a relative to Dusty Rhodes. It was actually the Nature Boy, woo, Ric Flair. And when he first started off, he had really short hair, and he was considering to be Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes as part of a relative of Dusty Rhodes to start his career off.
Okay. I think I remember something about that. But I also want to think now that you got me thinking, Mike. I worked with another guy on the Indies down in the Carolinas. I went by the last name Rhodes. And I'm trying to remember if it was Ricky Rhodes or something else now.
Well, if you can't think about it right now, guess what? We got a whole new podcast next Friday, or you could Facebook Live it and give your answer there if you can remember before Friday.
I've got to figure this out now. It's going to drive me nuts.
Well, you know, me and Chris like to get you thinking, and I just thought it was a really good story when he told me, and yeah. So I'll send you what I have on it through text and everything, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. I can't wait to read up on that. But I think I remember something of that sort now. Because he was a big Dusty Rhodes fan when he broke in. So
Yeah, I think probably at least 95% of all people was Dusty Road fans at one time.
you would think. I mean, I was a big Dusty Rhodes fan growing up as well. So
Yeah, I was too.
sweet. Well, you know what, Mike? We're gonna get out of this week's episode. Um, I know you're gonna go spend some time with your hot American wife. I'm gonna go spend some time with my beautiful wife, and we're gonna have a great evening. And I hope everyone else has a great evening and does something with your family, your friends. Have a good dinner. Whatever. Just have a good evening, please. And join us next week for the next edition of the whole Reffin' Show.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.